Welcome back. Joining me is Ryan Erb from the United Way.
Thanks, Peter. Great to be on again.
Now that we're in March, and I know we're going to get into some of the programs, but the community always knows you as a fundraiser, but we're going to talk way more about that. How are you doing in terms of the fundraising goal?
Well, we're really grateful for the support that's come through this year, even in a pandemic. We are well on our way to achieving our goal this year, which is so exciting. We're grateful for the generosity of so many people.
Now we hear about this, the Hospitality Workers Fund. Tell us about that and how people can contribute if they want to do so.
For sure. Yeah, this is another example of the work that the United Way is doing, collaborating with many people in our community through the pandemic. So, of course, in Stratford, we know that one of the hardest hit groups of people and industries is the hospitality industry and those that are employed within it. And so we wanted to do something, and we also heard from many partners in our community they wanted to see something happen. So when we heard from our friends at Black Swan Brewing and Larry at Patso, Larry McCabe at Patso, they were interested in trying to pull something together, we quickly formed a little coalition and tried to move that forward. So it started brewing a special beer that the funds raised from it would help out with those that are in that category. And then it grew to many other people making donations over the last number of months, special fundraisers, those kinds of things. We're really excited about how it's moving forward. So we've raised better than $17,000 already, which is wonderful news. This is over and above the United Way annual campaign and other things. Many of those dollars have already been administered and given out to people in our community, so we're very thankful. The other partner worth mentioning, of course, lots of people always involved in these things, but the local community food center is administering the funds on our behalf, so we're raising the money and passing it along to them to give directly to people in need in our community. And so if anybody's interested and needs help, there are still dollars available, and they could reach out to the local community food center and ask for how to apply.
Ryan, are there any other funds specific to COVID?
Yes, we did have one other major fund that we operated throughout the time called our fund, and this was a main category to help us with helping organizations and individuals, sort of like we did with the Hospitality Workers Fund. As you can appreciate, many people were falling through the cracks, despite the government's best efforts, around things like the CERB and otherwise. For example, some people who were working independently, had a small business, sometimes didn't qualify for whatever reason. Maybe they just started their business and they can't compare, actuals to a time period or something like that. And so there's lots of people that were falling through the cracks and needed help. And so we were able to jump right in. Just literally 3 days after the first news and lockdown, we opened the fund, and we have raised well over $1.1 million over the course of the last year since that time just about this time of the year last year. It's been a long time, a long and arduous journey for many of us, but we have been able to support many organizations and individuals through that particular fund. So the individual fund that actually is administered by the City of Stratford Social Services, we have supported literally hundreds and hundreds of people with basic expenses, whether it's groceries or medication or things of that nature. And so people that just couldn't find the wherewithal to pay a bill that they had, and they were in arrears maybe for electricity or those kinds of things. And when other supports ran out, this fund was there for them to help them through that time. So that's been fantastic for our community. And of course, we're continuing that fund on beyond this year, so people can still make direct donations to that fund going forward. We're also using a portion of our campaign funds to support that effort from this year's efforts. So people can still apply directly by heading to our website for information there. There's a short form, or they can call social services directly and get help. You can actually do it over the phone without even having to fill out paperwork, because it's not always easy for people who are in urgent need, right, to do that. The other thing we did, of course, Peter, is we helped many organizations over that period of time. So, whether that was organizations that were providing grocery delivery services for seniors in our community, whether that was organizations providing food for people who were needing additional food, through food bank networks, and or places like the local community food center that were actually cooking meals and dispersing them. So things that were more emergency related came out of that fund as well. So we've been doing really well. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. And it's incredible how much community collaboration is going on. Just lastly, what are you doing to help mental health? It seems to be just exploding.
Yeah, it's a critical issue. One of the things that we did early on in the pandemic, using some of the funds that we were talking about earlier and partnering actually with Invest Stratford, Community Futures, and Family Services to provide the service, we actually created a special mental health fund for those for entrepreneurs and small business owners. So we knew that that was a new category of people that needed access to that service, and ever since then, they've been able to reach out to Family Services and get the help that they need. It's a challenge, you know, if you own a small business and all of a sudden you don't think you're going to survive, you know, that's a lot of pressure, incredible pressure, especially for people just starting out. So we had that fund operating pretty quickly, and we're grateful for the partners. The Community Foundation helped us with that as well. I would be remiss not to mention that they provided some funds and helped us significantly to get that off the ground. You know, in addition to that, we're actually writing a report now on mental health and looking at some of the challenges that the pandemic has added to the mix. And so we'll be releasing that in the near future, and it will have some recommendations in terms of how organizations and government and all of us can respond to the mental health crisis that we have. We're certainly seeing strains on the systems and longer lineups and challenges in many places. And so we all know that this is a time where we need to, you know, be as helpful to those around us as we can, because it's stressful for anybody, right?
Yeah, Ryan, thank you very much for joining me and filling in the gaps in our community. Thank you.